Because now we're going to get into our segment of 10 questions
Come on, put me
with
on
an
the spot,
honest tattooer.
And it's fuck it up.
all the way to the right.
What happens?
I like that one. That one
All
works.
right, that's gonna.
That was a metal riff. I like it. Even though it's like, it's the middle all the way to the right.
The middle. Why do you not let him have it?
Let him have the
Just
box.
get a little.
He just needs to label them.
It's the length of the cord. That's the problem.
But we have 10 questions, and I think we're going to split it up because I think this will make it fun. I'm going to give you 5, and you're going to get 5 questions.
Awesome.
Okay? But we're going to flip-flop. So to start it off, I want to know this. Joe, what inspired your first tattoo, and how has your style evolved since then?
When you say first tattoo, like first tattoo that I ever did. Or like, well, I mean, shit, the first tattoo that I ever did was inspired by the fact that I was putting fucking ink in somebody's skin for the very first time. So
That was a moment.
So I will admit, the first time I tattooed a friend of mine. I did a tribal scorpion on him. The reason why I chose to do tribal was because it was line work. It was solid black, and I could actually shade bits of it to see how it was going in.
Yeah.
So practice before you color it in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was more about just hand motion, figuring out how to work with mags. Because at that one I did, I think the whole thing was done with a tight 3 and a 7 mag. And it was a tribal scorpion about that big on one of my friends I grew up with. He still has a tattoo. I haven't seen it in like fucking 25 years.
Wow.
But I did it, 30 something years.
I'm sure it's still on there.
One can always on there. It's definitely on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the whole point. How it affected the rest of my career, not even a little bit. Because realistically, like my career, I was working in a wannabe biker shop. So the first year of my tattooing was black and gray bullshit and flash, which by the way, I enjoy much more than I did enjoy the bullshit.
Oh, dude, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Like if I ever have an opportunity to just tattoo a bunch of flash, with pleasure.
Yeah, but I was known as a color artist. I airbrushed, so most of my stuff was color. I was big into pinups, and it wasn't until my second or third year tattooing that I did a Betty Page pinup on a guy full color, and it got published, and it was fucking straight to the stars. It was like nothing but color, pinups, and just all kinds of fun shit.
You know, that's actually, that was going to be question 4 of, can you share a pivotal moment in your career that reshaped your approach and kind of tattooing? And I feel like that's probably your moment.
Yeah, it's like I can honestly say going to the Richmond Tattoo Convention in '96, and I hadn't done any shows yet, and I went to the convention, and I had just had a 2-page spread with 8 images in the magazine. It was Tattoo Magazine. And I was trying to sell Tattoo Flash. I had 20
also a good magazine.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
I had 20 sheets of Tattoo Flash. I was walking around trying to sell it, and I sold a handful. And I had gone up to a fellow named Mark Fairchild. He owned a shop in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. He also ran a convention in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And I had walked up there on Saturday, and he looked at my stuff and just said, "Yeah, I'm not interested," and walked away. So now Sunday, I'm walking around. A friend of mine that I'd gone there with brought his flash and is bragging about how he just sold him 10 sheets of flash. I'm like, this motherfucker's at least looking at my shit. So I walked up to his booth, threw the flash on the table. And at that time, you were able to walk around with flash and just sell shit. Threw my stuff on the table. It's like, hey man, you want to buy some flash? And he looked at me and he's just like, and keep in mind, I'm like some fat fucking kid from fucking Long Island, you know? And he's like, I'll look at it. And he's flipping through it and he's like, oh, this stuff is pretty cool. And he's like, can you tattoo like this? And I'm like, I think so. I have my portfolio. And he's like, well, let me see it. So I pull my portfolio out, put it down, and he's looking through it and he goes, huh. And he literally reaches behind the counter, pulls out a magazine, Tattoo Magazine, opens it up, and I have a 4-page spread in Tattoo Magazine.
Oh, shit.
Excuse me, 2-page spread, 8 pieces, 4 on each.
Shit.
And he's like, is this you? And I'm like, dude, you're looking at the fucking page in my book. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
And he's like, want to do a convention in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania? And I'm like, if I can get a fucking booth at it, I will. Because at the same day, the day before, I talked to Billy Easton about getting into the Philly and into the Richmond convention. I literally am like, hey man, I hear you run this convention. My name is Joe Capobianco. I really want to do this convention. He literally looked at me fucking just turned around and walked away. Didn't even acknowledge talking
No
to me.
words.
So that was probably the most at that time. I would say this pinnacle point of my career.
Yeah, man. Big change from there. It's like
Yeah.
to the stars. And Megan,
Megan.
if you couldn't be a tattoo artist, what career path would you choose and why?
That's a great question. I think about that shit myself. I'm like, if I wasn't tattooing, I'm like, what the heck would I be
Does
doing?
it have to be logical?
I'd be a sound guy.
I mean, you can't be a fairy. You're
I mean, knee jerk is vampire, but fuck, like, I don't know.
can't be fairies or vampires.
We'll take anything.
I really, even before this, I actually went to medical school for a bit for radiography, and I worked with patients either, I broke my arm or in the emergency room with car accidents. So I feel like something like that, I would love to say like vets, but that would devastate me because everything's great when the animals are like healthy, but I don't know. I feel like maybe a vet, something with animals.
Something with animals?
Yeah,
That's
as much
cool.
as it would break my
Cool.
heart.
Yeah.
Do you live in the city?
I live in Park Slope,
Yeah,
right
you-
across the street from Greenwood.
Unless you live on a fucking farm.
Yeah.
We
You
have
see,
vets.
you know what though? You see, your attitude seems pretty level-headed. Like you can.
Have I
takes-
fooled you? Cool.
No, yeah, for sure. No, because it's like when you start like talking like medical or even with animals, like you really have to keep a level head with not getting too like emotional or anxiety filled or stress filled.
God.
Based on situations, because like
Such a nightmare, dude.
what? Yeah,
My
exactly.
brain immediately went to when you said that you were going to medical
Fuck.
school. I was like, oh, she wants to work in the morgue.
Yeah. I did, but I was like, ooh, what if one of them tries to...
Weird.
I'm like way into the spooky stuff, so for me, I'm like, what if that bitch starts talking? Like, I don't want to know what grandma's last word was. Like, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
If you remember a few weeks back, we had Ed from Tattoo Armor on the podcast, and he was able to hook us up with a discount code for our followers. So Tattoo Armor is literally the best way to wrap your client. I've been using it, Matt's been using it, and it's just awesome. There's no mess, there's no glue, and it's just super comfortable. I hope you can try it for yourself and just go on to Tattoo Armor and use the code Honest Tattooer for 20% off your order.
After I got the chance to sit down with Matt and John on the Honest Tattooer podcast, the Force of Focus got amazing feedback when it comes to the Hello to Healed process, networking strategies, and most of all, creating your own personal brand and culture. So I want to give you the opportunity to take 15% off by coming to join the Force of Focus arena. Now, this is a community of high-achieving tattoo artists who are all here for one reason: to be around like-minded individuals who all want to grow not only in our personal lives, but within our businesses. We're going to walk with you side by side to build out every system you could ever imagine to not only ensure the fact you're on the right path, but how to be able to see your dream life and then achieve it. Now, I have a laundry list of artists who have been able to achieve their dreams, and if you're ready to do the same, click the link below and let's get a conversation going.
All right, Joe, what's the best piece of advice that you've received about tattooing that you'd like to pass on?
That I've received about tattooing.
Yeah.
Gatekeep that shit. Don't even answer that question. That's a
Dude, does it
stupid
fucking
question.
matter?
That's a dumb
Anything
question.
you
Don't
put
answer
out
that.
there, it could be fucking solid fucking gold.
Nobody's gonna listen
Half these
to it.
cocksuckers are gonna be like, oh,
Yeah, they're gonna- yep. They all know better
He
already,
doesn't know
Joe.
anything. He's old.
Yeah.
God, for that I've been given. Shit, I don't remember.
What's the one that you'd like to give?
That I would like to give.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would like to give. Just be aware of the moment you're in, and be aware that you're getting old. That things are going to change. And again, like the reason why I say this is because I've had 30 years of an amazing life, and I mean that wholeheartedly. From the moment I met my wife, from where I live, everything I've built, everything I've traveled to, whatever, the friends I've made.
Yeah.
Mainly the friends I've made, and my wife, of course. But you tend to lose sight of where things are going. And looking at this, I'm going to be 56 this year, and it's fucked. And the reason why I say that is because of where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fucked up time. So if I had to say anything, I would say, think of the future. For the longest time, I looked at it from the standpoint of from health. I've always been a big fuck. And I've often told people, I'm like, think about your health, because I mean, everything in your life affects, like, especially your health, in your physique, whatever, affects everything. A lot of people have taken that as like body shaming, because we live in a fucking day and age where it's apparently not smart to think about your fucking future. But yeah, that's been my biggest thing. Think about the future, man. It's a big thing, whether it be financial, whether it be health, whether it be anything. Think about the future.
Because we're literal blips in time. Like, so
full on, dude. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, again, perfect example. Go to this tattoo shop. Nobody has a clue. You didn't have a clue. Like, I mean, I've made a mark in this business. It doesn't matter. And again, that's not me being, being sour. It's God's honest truth, dude.
It's just the direction that's tattooing's in right now. Nothing matters.
Well, because nobody looks at things as being important anymore.
Yeah.
It's like when I learned how to build a machine, it wasn't because I had to. It was because I wanted to.
Same here.
When I learned how to mix pigments and actually made my own pigments for fucking 5-6 years, it wasn't because I had to. It's because I wanted to. I think more people need to look at that. When we bitch and complain, like I did a podcast on my podcast, where I said, like, hey man, like, if you've never used a coil machine, then you don't have a point of reference. You don't know why your rotary machine sucks.
Yeah. Or you don't know why it's better.
Yeah.
Or, what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, I used dozens of coil machines. I used dozens of rotary machines. Wasn't because I was just looking to spend money. Yeah. You're always trying to figure out what the nuances are in life.
Yeah,
so
correct.
That's something that you need to do. And the same thing with travel, with anything. Fucking take advantage. Take advantage of it all. So yeah, maybe after your fucking health and well-being and your fucking finances, yeah, man, take advantage, dude.
Take advantage.
Take advantage of everything this business has to offer and listen to what people who came before you have to say. Because if you think growing up in fucking Suffolk County is the end all be all of your fucking career, you haven't got a fucking clue.
No way.
And I can say that having grown up in Suffolk County. You know what I mean? Because literally, man, like there's a great big world out there. There are wonderful people out there. There is so much to be gleaned.
And there's so much to learn
trade.
still.
Yeah, from this trade. So much. So yeah, that's just fucking like God. I just touched on so much.
Yeah,
You're
man,
welcome.
that's a good one.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll go back to you, Megan.
Oh no.
So, this is a pretty good one. After a demanding day of tattooing, what's your favorite way to just relax and recharge?
Honestly, I love to either like my boyfriend and I hop on like any video game, anything, just multiplayer, and like shoot the shit about our day, hang out, or just spend time with family. Because the job takes so much time where it's like I love it. I have no track of time. It's 1 minute it's 12 o'clock and then it's almost 1 a.m. Like, oh, okay. So
That's
if anyone's
you like
up,
this. You like
this. So for me it's like, oh, okay. Well, anyway, so if anyone's up, I'll hang out. So for me it's like cultivating the other half of my life where I'll hang out with any family, like friends, boyfriend. But it also depends on the tattoo. So if it's like a shorter day, obviously it's like, oh, let's go to the bar and like hang out. But I've been at the shop like maybe 2-3 a.m. and we're tired. We're going to go. And sometimes my client and I just even take maybe a half hour, 45 and just chit chat and hang out and detox together. It's like, hey, you want to get food? Like we're both tired and we'll do that as well. So
that's
it really
great.
Depends.
That's cool.
But yeah, that's why I love this, because you can make those bonds with your clients as well. So
I was going to say that's pretty good practice as far as like, clients like that. They like to connect too as well. And when you invite them for like a drink or, or just like, let's grab lunch or dinner and, just shooting the shit together, it's really good. Like client bonding is really essential for solidifying something long term as well.
I think though you do have to worry about the long term of that sometimes.
Oh yes, also
because there is a thing.
Yes,
when, especially not so much.
There's
for
different
them,
expectations too that are built up.
Almost for yourself. Because I've done stuff where I've gotten friendly with clients. I'm like, a 3-hour session. I'm like, just give me $200.
Oh yeah.
The guilt of like it is your friend.
My goodness. You were really, really cool, so I'm gonna hook you up immediately. And sometimes
it's not even. You don't even look at it as a hookup. You almost feel bad
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I do it all. I mean,
All right.
again, I do it a lot, man. I've got a lot of friends that I've tattooed that I'm like, fuck, what did I just do? Shit.
Yeah.
$800 a day just turned into $300.
Well,
Yeah,
this
that happens too.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Something-
like,
yeah.
oh, but you're really cool. And then it's like,
So,
oh,
and you know what?
no.
And it'll still happen. And it'll still happen. Like you said, how many years into tattooing are you right now?
Not even 2 yet.
Yeah.
In October, it'll be 2.
So it's gonna be 2, and especially at this point in your career where you've had to really like, at least the same thing happened with me where I'm tattooing a lot of friends. You know, you gotta get your ground.
Yeah,
game,
there's got,
you know?
there comes
Yeah.
a point where it's about business.
Right.
It's about business.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like,
I fall into that trap all the time.
yeah.
Like tattooing the same guy for
Yeah.
the last 10 years. Like he's like almost your brother now. Like, oh man, I gotta charge this guy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And you feel bad. You
Yeah,
have
feel
that
really
guilt.
bad
You're like,
about it.
ooh, I don't know. I get like that guilt where it's like, don't look at me. Like, just here's you know, if you're counting your money,
Here's the bill.
I have to pretend to be busy.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's cool what you're doing, but you're not doing it for fun. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's your job, your
It's
career.
your job,
Yeah.
and you got to get paid, and that's the kind of like the thin line where it's just like it's really hard to navigate that.
It is
It's
because
really hard.
logically, yes, absolutely. That this is your career. This is, you know, how you know, pay rent.
Yeah,
this
how you
is how you
sustain
keep the
yourself.
lights on. But then you're like, this is kind of mean.
I know,
But it's not. It's not. Like, I know it's not. But sometimes after that day and you're having like a good time, I have to like reel it back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh no. This
Well, that's
is gonna be
because
part of
when
my
you
day.
are having a good time, and you, that's what it is. You just feel like you're hanging out with your buddies. You're like, now I'm
Yes.
charging you to hang out with me.
Yeah, it's like, this is rude.
But that's the joy of our business is the
Yeah.
fact that we can enjoy what we do
correct.
without having to feel, you know, like it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
Which has always been the joy of
Yeah.
tattooing. It's like, which is again why things have gotten weird because you got people like, oh, it's $3,000 a day.
What?
We're like,
What
oh
the
shit!
fuck is that?
I was gonna say, like, you-
I finished your tattoo in 4 hours.
You used to go to,
Dude.
you know, to Kenny to get your hair cut, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's like your buddy. You're just hanging out, talking,
Yeah.
like, how's everything? Well, and then it was like, he's like, all right, well, you're done. Now you pay me.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just
Well,
that,
no. Well, the fucked
you
up
know?
thing about that is though, dude, I've been going to the same barber for 25 years, and dude, I've never paid for a haircut.
Shit.
He never pays for a tattoo.
okay. So your barber.
in all the years that I've been going to this guy, I've literally only paid, not through him, but when I was in Hollywood, when I was doing the TV show, I got tattooed by Donnie Holly, and he actually he didn't charge me either. Fuck, never mind. I've only paid for 2 haircuts in the last 25, 26 years.
Damn.
Shit,
Wow.
dude.
Because
And you
I've been
keep a
going-
haircut.
Right.
And you're a man who keeps a haircut. You're
Oh,
a
fuck yeah. I go once a month. I go once a month. I don't go. I'm not that crazy. But the fact is, it's like it's the same guy. But if he comes to me to get tattooed, I'm not going to charge him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
course.
And
Yeah,
he
yeah,
used
yeah.
to be the body piercer at the shop that I eventually went to work for. So it's like, I literally started getting my haircut when he went to barbershop.
shit.
So it's like, it's just a friendship thing. It wasn't
Yeah,
a matter of like, and that's something I've often said, like, so I've been in this business a long time. I hashtag it's a friendship, not a sponsorship.
Yeah.
Because to
Right.
me, it's about me pushing a friend, not a fucking sponsor.
Yeah.
And again, the second it gets real and it starts turning, oh, we're going to give you this. Yeah, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to use anything I want, and I want to be able to push anybody I want.
Anything you want.
And I don't want a sponsorship. I just want to be able to support the people I believe in.
Correct.
Whether it be, for whatever reason, whether it be because I really dig their stuff or whatever.
So let's say, Joe, if you had all the Infinity Stones and you have the power
Oh,
to
for
change
fuck's sake.
one aspect, you have the power to change one aspect of the tattoo industry today, what would it be? Just one flick.
Get rid of the internet. Get rid of the
I
internet.
was going to say the entire generation of tattooing.
Get rid of the internet.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I would like to bring it down to a more fucking, grassroots style of fucking tattooing.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of the internet. Get rid of the fucking bullshit algorithm. Get rid of the fact that we're not in control of what we do.
Yeah.
Like we have literally given we have hand the reins off to the clients. And again, this may sound mean. I don't fucking care anymore. Because the fact of the matter is, people look at it as like, well, it's kind of fucked up for your clients. I'm like, but is it? Like we're trying to educate clients. We're not trying to steer them into getting bad. We're not talking people into getting fucking, tattoo sideburns.
No.
We're not trying to talk people into getting shitty tattoos. We're trying to make them think for themselves. We're trying to make them actually get beyond their fucking phone. You know what I mean? So yeah, I would say I would like to see fucking clients start thinking for themselves.
Hell yeah.
Stop get away from the bullshit.
They're just getting influenced 1,000%.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I get it. It's the way the world is right now. It never used to be like that.
Yeah.
And it can still be like that, although probably not.
No, it's true because people like look what we're seeing it right now. We're seeing it happen in humanity. Everything is upside down. Bad is good and good is bad. And that also relates to quality of work. Shitty fucking artwork, excuse my French, is being hailed as like progressive now.
Oh, dude, don't.
It's avant-garde.
And it's not even shitty tattooing. It's like painting, visual arts in general. And the reason I have I'll stand by this like 100%, just like what Joe was saying. It's all the algorithm is showing you. Oh, this is what's cool right now. Oh, I guess this is what's it. This is it. Because people can't fucking think for themselves.
But keep in mind,
dude.
we saw all this stuff coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw this. Like, if something was hot in the magazines, it took off. I mean, fuck, my whole career is based on that. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, you probably got tattooed by me.
But at least the magazines had selective tastes.
Well, okay, so this is what I was kind of saying before, is the fact that, yes, it had selective taste, but it was in the control of one individual.
Still another person
correct.
was curating it.
So like what you were saying, like
Exactly.
if they didn't dig your shit, they were just like, fuck you,
Aaron
Joe.
Kane, many years ago, put it perfectly. Everybody bitched and complained about the magazines. Oh, the magazines suck. Oh, the magazine's only showing this. Magazines are only showing that. And Aaron Kane's response was, you know why? Because you're not mailing stuff in. The magazines rely on you. You send stuff into the magazines will publish those pictures. And that's what drives the magazines, because it's content that drives the magazines. I will not mention the magazine that recently reached out to me, but they wanted me to pay for an ad. It wasn't an ad. It was technically an article.
An article.
For my shop. We have a great shop. Oh, we hear your shop's amazing. Everybody talks highly about your shop. We want to do an article on the shop. Here's how much it costs.
And you're like, what? Wait, what?
Exactly. And I wrote them back and said, okay, well, I come from a day and age when you looked for me because of who I was, what my shop was. You're saying I'm a great shop, but I have to pay for an article? Does that mean that the shitty shop next door to me gets the same fucking article because they are willing to pay for it? How does that make fucking sense?
Yeah.
Like, you're looking for content. You like my shop because of what we bring to the table, but I have to pay to be in your magazine. Or I could just be a shitty shop, and then you'll put that magazine in. You'll put them in your magazine instead of me.
Because they were paying.
Exactly. How does that make sense? So that's the world we live in now. But like, social media doesn't really work that way, obviously, unless you're paying for boosted posts and stuff like
Which
that.
still don't work.
No, again, I just had an experience where I'm going to Rhode Island next week. I boosted a post, a bunch of people saw it, nobody gives a shit.
No.
So basically, if I did something where I fucking ran across a dock naked and fucking humped a goose,
they would give a
apparently
shit.
It would have done really well on its own. But if I boosted it, it would have gone viral. So am I doing this for business, or am I doing this for fucking likes and fucking bullshit?
For views,
Yeah,
or anything.
for views.
So therein lies the problem. The difference between, say, a magazine, which actually was kind of a tool for our trade,
Yes.
or a social media site, which is just literally just, and again, if that's all it is, that's great. Then we as a trade need to step back and say, you know what? Fuck Instagram.
Yeah, I'm over
Like,
it.
it's not, we don't need it. It's not helping us. So what are we doing? And I will admit, I am one of those people, but the only reason I still am on every single day is it is free. It gets your stuff out there regardless, even if only 12 people see it.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's free.
I think the analogy for something like the magazines versus Instagram, it's like people that pick up a magazine is usually somebody that's interested in tattooing. So I'm going to pick up this tattoo magazine because I'm interested in this.
Yes.
In social media, especially when we're paying to promote a post, right? That post's going to get shown to a lot of people that
They don't
care at all. So
All
then it's
right.
like, is that person picking up a magazine? They're like, I want to see a magazine about cooking. They're like, tattoos, I don't want this. And then they just, and then guess what? That view still counts. So like, we showed it. We showed it though. So it's
So
like,
let me ask you a
just,
question.
you know,
I don't want to go down this fucking line of questioning. If you do not want to go down this line of questioning right fucking now, because I get you're on your 10 questions. But Ink Master, any TV shows, these are not about our trade. These are about entertainment.
it's an entertainment show.
Oh, for
so
sure.
It
Yeah.
comes to a point where it's like, well, it's not helping us at all. And it's just putting stuff out there. And the majority of the people are just interested in the dumb shit that goes on during a fucking normal episode of Ink Master.
Right.
None of it is real. Okay. It does not attract tattooed people. It doesn't attract tattooers. So what's its fucking value? Besides fucking dollars and cents for the network that's showing it. So it comes to
Or
a
the
point-
participants.
Okay, so here's the problem with that. Why are we supporting it? And again, this is not a shot
Well,
against
I
any-
think
Yeah,
that
I
it's
think- I
mostly
think most
something
people
that
aren't.
I think a lot of people do support it, but most of the people that
A lot of people, but not most.
No, I mean regular people.
yes,
Regular-
that's what I was gonna
No,
say.
but I
Most
mean-
people that
yeah.
like you
Yes.
know the shows are is not your usual tattoo customer. You know, it's somebody that is just a fan of usually
now-
reality TV, likes tattooing,
So now let me ask you a
and they
question.
feel a lot more comfortable looking at it.
You go to a tattoo convention. Okay, you go as an Ink Master. They have a row of Ink Masters. Fuck, there's a convention happening in November
Yeah.
in Richmond, Virginia. By the way, you're welcome, Jesse. In Richmond, Virginia, where they're going to have every fucking Ink Master under the sun. Are you going to that one, by the way?
I wanted to go, but it's the same weekend as the New York convention.
Which New York convention?
The one in we're doing that one. It's
Oh,
in
it's Hudson
The
Valley.
International New York.
Oh, Brooklyn. Is it Donald's?
Yeah.
it's Donald's.
Go to that one. So, but the point being is, it's basically it's going to bring a bunch of people through the door.
Yeah.
Most of those people are going there for fucking headshots. They're going there to get a photo tape.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Now, granted, that's great for the fucking for the promoter.
Yes.
What's
a
that
lot of
doing-
people are going to
what's that,
show
What's
up.
that doing for tattooers?
Yeah, it's not.
You know what I mean?
Nothing.
Unless you bring something like when they did it last year and they had like, you know, Ryan was there. She's selling headshots. You could take a photo with her for fucking money, whatever. But it's one of those situations. I'm firing so many bridges right now. But
Joe.
it's
Fucking do it, bro.
oh, dude,
Because I've
really?
been bitching
Who
about
are
this
you
shit.
talking
I've been
to?
bitching about this shit, fucking seething, seeing it all fucking
Gabe's
burn.
like, I feel seen.
Yeah,
I feel like we're getting off the
It's-
track.
Joe,
I feel like
here's
we're
the
getting
thing.
off the track.
Here's the thing. As you well know, like in this podcast, I'm always the kind of like the odd
most
one out.
certainly.
And you wouldn't believe the overwhelming support that I get from people and be like, dude, I'm fucking glad you are fucking
Did you
the
watch?
one
Did
saying
you
this
did you
shit.
go back and read those comments after?
Oh,
2 weeks?
dude, yeah.
That's when the shit hits the fan. Like
Yeah,
when like I said last
fucking
time I did this
great.
podcast, it just took
Yeah.
a dump.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I don't want shit on anybody. If you like Ink Master, good for you.
Hey, all right, yeah,
It's good.
we
I
get
like
it. We
it's
get
entertaining
it. We get
because I
it.
like reality shows.
Entertainment.
Let's go,
That's all.
Megan.
Yeah,
All right.
entertainment.
What has been your biggest learning curve? It could be technique, it could be client interaction, tattooing so far. What has been the hardest thing to get through?
Client interaction, not so much how I would like to treat them, thankfully, like knock on wood. Like it's been great. I've had angels of clients so far, but I think it's handling the ones where they aren't respectful of you. And, you know, thankfully I have backup, like with Nikki and Tim, they're always like, hey, if something's weird, you drop your machine and you come straight to us. Like there's no questions. Cause I've had some, I think 3 major client interactions where it was just it does not sound real. So I think it was trying to maneuver through those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see the progression of how I can handle things like that, where it's like, okay, well, now I know not to do this. I know how to handle someone being, you know, crossing a lot of boundaries and doing inappropriate things and, you know, making you very uncomfortable or, you know, saying X, Y, and Z and being like, oh, hey, what? Like, you know, and either being able to diffuse or be like, hey, we're done here. But so far it hasn't gotten to a point where I've had to cut something short. It's just very much like learning to be like respectfully, this is a boundary you're kind of crossing. Like, let's not do that.
you should get a hammer, like a ball peen hammer, right? And then you're gonna, with like fine script, you put for creeps and you hang it right by your station. Yeah. For creeps.
Honestly,
that's not a bad idea. And you put it right by your station. And then if somebody said some weird creepy shit, you'll be like,
point to it.
Just point at it like,
yeah,
hey,
you gotta have some intimidating shit because it's gotta be tough as a female tattooer.
But I also feel like, I have stories, but the problem is it's so specific to these people, they will know.
We're gonna come back in your 10-year mark.
You're gonna say,
you say
you're not gonna be the same.
There's one
and you're gonna be like, I got some shit to let out of my chest right fucking now.
No, we have with the new shop, there's lore where if there's like a guest, somehow, some way, my cryptid clients come out. And it's like, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, yes, I have witnesses. Yes, this did happen.
It did happen.
But dude, that's a thing. That's always been a thing in shops, you know?
But it's just like building, I'm so sorry.
No, go.
It's like building that thicker skin though, where it's like, you know what?
Oh yeah, you gotta.
It's done, and knowing where to cut it off and being like, you know what, where do my boundaries start and what do I do past that point? Because I feel like I'm not so much like, if you say something weird, it's like, okay, anyway, take it easy. It's fine. And then,
it's also a tattoo shop.
Yeah.
You expect things to be off color.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I'm like, a tattoo shop, like, we're trying to make these tattoo shops so safe, but they're a zone. I always thought about the tattoo shops of like a zone of wildness. Shit's gonna happen there. You're gonna encounter very peculiar type of personalities and people. Sometimes you're gonna get some fucking creeps. You're gonna get some weirdos. Like, it's all part of the job. We're literally in like.
So I think the biggest issue with what you're just saying right now is a perfect example. Like, when I've had conversations with younger tattooers and they were like, sometimes people just want a safe space and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, when we came up in tattooing, it was kind of like a rites of passage. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a rite of passage like, oh, you deserve your tattoo. No, you forced yourself to go into a situation and you grew because of it.
Correct.
And again, I realize we live in a different world. You know what I mean? And it's a fucking shame for that, because there is so much to be gleaned from being put. Like, dude, I started traveling because I was a kid from Long Island who never left the island. Like, the first time I went to Europe, it was fucking tremendous. First time I went to fucking New Jersey, it was fucking huge. You know what I mean? Like, these are little hurdles that we all take. And tattooing is something that not only do you get to control what's happening to your body, which, by the way, is half the reason people get tattooed.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do. It's something to say of like, I'm unhappy with something.
And I'm changing it.
And I'm making a change positive for me. So why should the environment dictate? Like, why do you have to be comfortable? You know what I mean? Like, it should be something that makes you stronger, makes you, again, everything I'm saying right now is people are looking at me like, go fuck yourself.
Also, like,
get your boomer poetry out of here.
I'm so for, I'm also a firm believer, like, a safe space is what you make of it. It's not so much like being like, oh, this is exactly the criteria. It's just like, people are themselves. But for me, it's like my experiences are more like someone grabbing at you and things like that, where it's like,
that's when you get the hammer.
I mean, just to clarify.
Well,
that's when you get the hammer.
But she's talking about as a client, I would imagine.
No, clients to me.
Okay.
That's when you do get the hammer.
Just to clarify. Because I totally get it, where it's like, you're gonna get characters, but I love that. Like, I love that type of stuff. But for me, it's more of like, just like, don't touch. Be weird. Don't touch. Like,
were you tattooing in her arm and it was just like,
it was an.
I feel
am I allowed to talk?
Yeah, I mean, we're on YouTube.
You can say whatever you're comfortable with.
So it was like. Also, I don't want to cut you off.
No, I didn't say.
Okay.
Trust me. If you're trying to cut, if you're going to worry about cutting me off, we're fucked.
Okay.
This conversation ends right now.
No, so my first guy client, and I don't care, just come on in. So he wanted something off of a flash, and he was like, "Oh, I twitch," and I was like, "Okay, that's fine." And Nikki was like, "Listen, here's what you do. These are, just walking me through it, because I was still so new. This is like maybe my third, fourth tattoo.
Yeah, you didn't know what to expect.
Right, but I was like, whatever. It's just going to happen, and it's going to be good, and I'm going to learn no matter what. And And he was like, yeah, I have this really bad twitch. And I was like, oh, no worries, no problem. I'll, work with you and everything like that. But his twitch, he had an ankle tattoo, and I was positioned kind of like by his foot, but he kept curling his chest in a
His
toes.
His toes?
Like toes to flat part of his foot around. And I was like, sir, that's not a twitch. And he was like, I'm so sorry, I'm just twitching. I'm like, no, that's not a twitch. I was like, you're being weird. You're cupping, sir.
Man.
Sir. So that's what I'm talking about, or like weird stuff.
So, but here's
was he doing that and like grabbing onto you or like getting close to you
like
or
a
something?
creature foot. Like
That's so odd.
So, but here's the thing. Back in the day,
weird.
back in the day,
Like a creature.
women in our industry would just be like, okay, that happens again, I'm going to fucking throw your ass out the fucking shop.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And that's
Yeah.
the difference between, and again, I'm not sure if you've got that in you to be like, okay, dude, that happens one more time, I'm going to call somebody in here and they're going to drag your ass out by the hair.
Oh, that's pretty much what it was too. Because by the time it had reached that point, because he kept like slowly but surely moving the heel of his foot to the chest. So by the time I was on the last couple of lines, I was like, okay, done. And then like my mentor and her husband were like, hey, you don't got to deal with that. Like that's not something that's okay to deal with.
And that's one of the things I think that we're like, what I've been saying about this industry is the fact that, yeah, we had that control. Like if somebody acted out, if somebody said something that you were not down with, you go, hey man, you can go do me a favor, go fuck yourself.
Right.
Like get the fuck out right now.
Joe,
And that,
Yeah,
my friends, is a safe space.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Space and
That's
Exactly,
a safe
yeah.
space.
So I apprenticed under a female tattooer that was like that. She was willing to tell you in a moment's notice.
Because back then you had no choice.
It's the thing. And she would literally, and I've been there many times where she'd be like, go fuck yourself.
I love that.
Yeah. Where I'd be
that's
like,
honestly,
oh, she was
and
a
this
hard
is-
bitch.
And
dude.
this is one of the problems that we run into. Like you're a young woman who literally, if you're feeling uncomfortable, you should just simply, you shouldn't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You should go, dude, that happens again. And I'm
Yeah.
going to have somebody come in here and drag you out by your hair.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's the difference of today. Because everybody wants to make a nice safe space. It's a safe. So one of my issues with the safe space thing is people are using it the same way people use fucking. Oh, this is getting me in so much trouble. But people are using it the same way
Just
people
now?
use fine line fucking black and gray. The same way they use award-winning tattoo artists. You know what I mean? How many of these places are actual safe spaces? You know what I mean? Like, so don't tell me it's a fucking safe space because you're trying to cash in on something that to every place should be a safe space. Is that the case? Fuck no.
My tattoo shop.
You can go to 1-7-Eleven and
Is
it's going to be
organic.
fucking... It's organic. Except everything comes from China. Except everything comes from Whole Foods,
My
but it's
shit is
organic.
organic. It's all organic here.
But that's my point. Like safe spaces were controlled by the tattooing. It was safe because if we didn't like things that were going on,
You
and
made
again,
it safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
That's
The difference
different.
is
don't get me-
safe for who? Right?
So, again,
Safe for who?
And that's a good way of putting it. And that's my point. That's the point I was going to make. If you went to a particular shop that everybody was a scumbag, it's not going to be safe for you. It's going to be safe for them.
Yeah.
But the
Right.
fact of the matter is the majority of the people in this industry right now, we all know they're scumbags. Like, I mean, fuck, we can name a dozen each.
Everyone's
Yeah.
pretending not to be a scumbag. That's
Of
my problem.
course.
That's my real problem.
Exactly. But the fact is to hide behind these fucking words is bullshit.
Yeah.
So it's, again, buyer beware, go out there, take the time. Don't assume that
Don't
they're
assume.
safe because they publish it in their fucking
Right.
bio.
They could be a true
But again,
piece of shit.
with something like you, you are the fucking tattooer.
Yeah.
Take fucking control.
You
You
need
don't
to-
like
yeah.
something, whether or not you're wrong or not. Fuck the client at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, that's
If
your
you're not
station, that's your
comfortable-
space, you're in
Exactly.
control of that area.
You're
Yeah.
in control.
Yeah.
So if you feel uncomfortable, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been uncomfortable in situations where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get through this fucking tattoo.
Right.
But
yeah.
I am not a fucking 120-pound fucking woman. I'm a fucking 350-pound man.
Right.
I don't give a shit. What are you going to do?
Right.
I'm going to drag
Yeah.
you out of here by your
You're gonna be
fucking hair.
yanked.
You know what I mean? So that's the difference between that situation. Most people don't do that shit with me. I've got guys in my shop that try the same stuff and they get pushback. And then I have to go in there and be like, really?
Right.
Okay, you need to get the fuck out of my shop right now. I mean, that's happened a handful of times where where I've had clients get out of line with one of my guys and then they call me up acting like, your guy. I'm like, no, you came into my shop. You treated my guy in a certain manner, and now you're going to try to tell me that they were wrong. Go fuck yourself. I do not give a fuck about you or your opinion. I heard what you said from multiple people in this shop, not everybody who worked here. And this is my shop. This is how things are done. You want to fucking make a fucking beef? Go ahead. Knock yourself the fuck out. Go on social media. Do whatever you want. I will fight it. Because the fact of the matter is you are fucking wrong. And you're in the same fucking boat. You are a young woman. As long as you're in a situation where you're in a position where there are people around. Now, granted, don't do this when there's nobody else in the shop.
No.
Because that's a thing.
No, and I'm very lucky. Like everyone at the shop has my back. Like
I think
1,000%. So
that's the
there's
thing.
No worry
I think
for me.
tattooers need to realize that we should be in control. We've lost a lot of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're all about pleasing the clients right now, and making it safe for them.
But the fact is, we need to take some of this back.
Yeah.
We need to take some of this back.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, John. We keep cutting you off.
No, good. The point of the questions are to get dialogue.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing but dialogue.
It's nothing but dialogue.
Dude, like I said before, my mentor, if a dude, and she was also like at the time when I started learning from her, you know, she was getting a lot of creeps. And she wasn't quick to nip that shit in the bud. I was with many experiences where I was just hanging out. And she was like, if you keep fucking around like this and making these little fucking stupid innuendos, like, you're going to pay me for the entire session of the day that I've wasted on your fucking ass. And you're going to get the fuck out of here. Or you're going to sit here on my chair and behave. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And get this tattoo done, because that's what I actually rather do is finish the tattoo.
I think that's...
And you wouldn't be surprised how fast they...
Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
It changes everything.
And they'll even sit even better after that point. Yeah. Where they're just going to be like...
All right. Got yelled at.
I mean, a lot of times we hold back on the things that we want to say because we're trying to be polite. And more now than ever before.
Of course.
And again, I think that... And again, it's going to sound shitty, man, but we need to take this back, dude. We need to let people know, like, hey, man, we've been the captain of this ship for a long fucking time. And not for nothing, up until recently, we've been doing really well.
Yeah.
Now things have gotten a little out of control. And it's not because we're still steering the ship. We're not. We gave up the controls, and now other people are running shit. And
other people are running shit.
That's
in so many aspects, you know, the way that we promote ourselves, where we get our stuff. You know,
dude,
the way
and
things
again,
are made, like there's a whole fucking thing going on.
It's a
but
spider web, dude.
You know, but before we wrap up,
it's like a Charlie.
I want to ask this question.
Charlie Day connecting all the
my God,
conspiracy board
on the wall.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
With the red light, the red string and the points everywhere.
Joe, you've been doing this longer than all of us here.
Oh yeah.
How do you still stay inspired and still wanting to do this
I know.
shit?
How do you stay? You know what? Hold on, let me rephrase that.
How do you
stay positive?
How do you stay like inspired to be like, I still want to fucking do more tattoos?
I still fucking want to tattoo people.
How do you still stay with it?
Fuck. That's tough. I mean, part of it is... So part of it is a true love for the business. I mean, and this is God's honest truth. I really, 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 truly do love this. It's also what I know. I mean, I will admit I never thought I'd be a tattooer. When I got asked to be part of this, I turned it down for a year and a half. And once you get into it, it's all you know.
I can attest to that. I
will admit to a point where it's probably the wrong way of thinking, but the idea of trying to keep up, you know, the idea of trying to find influences in the trade. And there are so many tremendous tattooers in tattooing, coming to stuff like this and having conversations with people like you know, young, slightly older, whatever. There are so many different opinions on how things should be done, how people think about things. It's keeping everything in focus. But I think the biggest issue has been just trying to keep my own head in the game and just trying to grow as a tattooer, grow as an artist, grow as a person. More grow as a person over an artist. Because that's been the biggest thing with this business. It's not just a matter of being a good tattooer. It's a matter of just growing as a person, meeting new people. Like, that's really it, man. Like I came down here not because, I mean, I wanted to be on the podcast, obviously, but I wanted to see you guys. You know what I mean? Like that's been the biggest issue. And I think biggest thing. And I think the idea of like just wanting to share time with people and stay relevant and stay in the game. And you can't stay in the game if you're not tattooing.
Yes.
You can't stay in the game unless you're creating, unless you're doing something. And I think the biggest issue now is more the challenge of trying to create and do something that matters. When you started in the game where you set the bar and then you watched all these motherfuckers come flying past you and all you're doing is trying to keep up with those people, you still want to try to set the next bar. So I think that's been the biggest thing. It's just trying to just enjoy myself, take care of my clients, hang out with my friends, talk to my peers, and glean a little something. So that's probably it, man. It's just life.
Yeah, it is life.
Yeah.
And, I never even considered being a tattoo artist till it kind of just fell in front of me and said, you should be a tattoo artist. And I was like, well, that sounds cool. And then all of a sudden, like, fuck, it's been 16 years, 17 years of doing this.
No, dude, wait till you hit another fucking 10, 15 years, dude.
I think about it.
Yeah.
I think about it.
It's the weirdest thing.
I talking like with Michelle last week and, talking with you and listening to people that have been doing this, for like 30 years.
Or longer, way longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, those are the things that, to me are worth so much, to get that experience because, I'll be there, God willing, And
it gives you that second win to be a little more hopeful about the years to come.
That's the thing. Is the fact it's left in the hands of you motherfuckers. And not for nothing, you drop the fucking ball.
I'm trying not to.
It's like having kids in this world right now. I'd be like, who's fucking having kids in this world? It's a shit show right now. It's like the new tattooers coming in.
You need to make some
even
good
the ones
ones
that are coming in right.
Yeah,
where you'll be like, oh, this is a huge mess you're coming into right now.
Because not for nothing, dude. Like, we've been running uphill for so fucking long, and these young kids are coming in, and like you said, they got brought in the right way. But are they going to start taking the shortcuts? Are they going to start taking the low road? That's the thing. And that's the scary part of where we are right now. And again, it's not me shitting on the younger generation. It's me going, dude, do the right fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, stop selling out to everything. It's like, dude, there's a reason why I stopped talking to certain suppliers. There's a reason why I stopped talking to certain individuals in this business, because they're not bringing anything to the game except lining their fucking pockets.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that's it, man. Like, I get it. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to not worry about the future. You didn't have to worry about it before. You have to worry about it even less now. Now you have something to give back and you're not. You're simply fucking not. And what I mean by that is, why are we relying on Instagram? You got motherfuckers that made millions on this industry. And again, I've said this on countless times. You've got people who have made millions on Instagram. I mean, made millions in this industry. Why the fuck are you not giving back? You made your money. How about you throw a little something back? You know what I mean? And again, whether it be tattooing, whatever, like, dude, tattooers, support tattoo magazines. Tattoo Society still exists. Inked is it's a fucking unicorn, for fuck's sake. It's a fucking unicorn without even a real horn. We're pretending it's a fucking unicorn. But the fact of the matter, it's a fucking magazine. There are things out there that we can do to get away from fucking Instagram. We need to get our clients to fucking start looking at that and stop following fucking algorithms. Get off of fucking Pinterest and all this other bullshit. I get it. It's fucking, it's low bearing fruit. It's
low bearing fruit. Exactly.
Yeah. It's just, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we need to take some of this back. Like I said with you, your client steps out of line, fucking put him back in line. You are in control.
Yeah. And I think that was the thing that I learned, like, through being a fresher especially apprenticing and doing that. You're kind of like, where do I overstep? Where do I not? And thankfully, they immediately were like, "No, you don't you don't tolerate that." So from learning, not so much that I didn't think they would have it, but you never want to assume. You never want to assume X, Y, or Z. But I already knew, so it's like that was my biggest learning curve, because it's like, okay, now I could be more firm.
Yeah.
As a tattooer, short of taking advantage of your client, you are in control. No shirt, no shoes, no fucking, no service.
No service.
And that's all it comes down to. You make the fucking rules. You know what I mean?
Right.
Short of taking advantage of your
They're in
clients.
your world. They're in your world.
Absolutely.
They're in your world getting your work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily like, they're not doing you any favors. They're paying for your product. You're doing them a favor.
I would consider that a favor still.
Huh?
I would consider that a favor.
Yeah.
They can get tattooed by somebody else.
Huh? Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I agree with that
That's the
wholeheartedly.
thing,
Right.
yeah.
I agree
but
with that wholeheartedly.
I'm talking about the person that's already in the chair.
Yeah.
They made the decision. They chose you.
my point being is the fact that like
That's not
Again-
to say that you're not supposed to show any gratitude for the business. That
no,
you're being
this is
offered.
like training. Like this is just the way people should act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When somebody came into your shop and they were hammered drunk, you fucking kicked them out.
Yeah. I'd be like, I'm not fucking
know?
working on you.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the way it
Yeah,
is. You
it's the way it
don't
works.
allow them to get away with shit, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, I get it. Sometimes you're like, oh fuck, I can use the money, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, there comes a point where it's like, no, there's a decorum in which needs to be done, and that's just the way it should be done.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
Yeah.
very easy to, once you say, whatever, I need the money, let me do it. And then people start taking advantage of that. And then you
Most
start
certainly.
getting walked on.
Yeah, most certainly.
And
Most
then you're
certainly.
the guy that's just like the pushover.
Oh yeah.
That happened to me for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
And- and
happens.
so you know what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my point. And her as a woman, she's gonna have more of that than most anybody
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
for
So
sure.
at that point, again, like there were women on Long Island, like we're talking back in the 90s, 80s, and they were just like, no, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And they had people in the shop that were willing to back them. So while they were not able to be the one to fucking punch
Throw
somebody's
yeah,
light
exactly.
out, the fact
Right.
is they had the backup of that. And again, it's the shop. You represent the shop. If you say something's fucked up,
The shop
that
is gonna
person-
back you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
shop's
Yeah,
gonna
for
back
sure.
you. And that's a thing. And that's why I think when I look at the whole thing, it's like whether it be good or bad, whatever, it's us that should be running stuff, not social media, not the general public. Like, and we're going down a whole nother thing, and I don't want to go down there. But with everything that's happening now with social media, the fact that somebody out there can call somebody out online for good or bad.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that becomes the fucking thing. And we're not supposed to say something. I have a problem with that. And I think if anything, COVID with restaurants and bars proved the fact that if somebody came to your restaurant, made a shitty fucking complaint, you as a restaurateur can go, oh no, go fuck yourself.
Yep.
Like we're working at half staff. There's all
Yep.
kinds of fucking regulations. There's all kinds of things going on. If you can't understand what we're doing to bring you food, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the similar situation in tattooing. It's like if someone comes in, it's like, oh, well, they were kind of fucking blah, 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 blah. Yeah, well, it might have been because everybody in the shop was tattooing. They were taking care of their client. You had to wait an extra 15 fucking minutes. Go fuck yourself. Because when you're sitting in the chair, you will be given the same exact courtesy that their clients were being given when you walked into the shop.
Right.
So there comes a point where an etiquette needs to be explained because the last two generations of tattoo clients have no clue as to how things went beforehand. Back in the day, if you came in, you got all fucking uppity, somebody said, go fuck yourself,
Yeah.
get out of my shop.
As soon as the shop smelled entitlement, they were like, get the fuck out
Exactly. So now it's like we feel the need to bend over because there's 12 shops around us.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, they
we go.
fucking love, fuck those guys, man. I didn't get fucking taken care of the moment I walked through the door.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you got a better tattoo in the other shop. Like, I
Good
don't know what to tell
riddance.
you. Yeah.
Good riddance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
That's why my shtick to like get clients in the door has always been like, just be fucking cool as shit. Just make them
real.
feel cool.
Yeah.
Just be real.
just be real.
Like,
Just
nice.
be real.
don't put on an act the moment somebody
Yeah.
walks through the door. If you act the way you're going to act the moment they come in, there's never any reason to think you have to create some character.
Correct.
Yeah.
For the character, the person that walks
There's
in.
no questions. Like even with our new location, we have clients and it's just like, oh, hang. And then they wind up just waiting because they like how we
Yeah.
address them. And they will wait like the 15 or like 10 to 15 minutes because they're like, oh, okay, I feel chill here. This is nice. And then
Yeah, you
they
just
like
make
it.
everybody
Yeah.
comfortable. That's all it comes down to. You're not putting on airs. You're not creating some ridiculous illusion that you're never going to be able to keep up every single time.
Right.
You know what I mean? You make everything real. That's all it comes down to. So
Agreed.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, guys, we're coming to an end.
Was that all the questions?
Yeah, we ran through all the questions.
Fuck yeah.
Any recommendations?
I'm going to recommend Mr. Joe Capobianco's podcast because he's got a good one.
I will second that recommendation.
Right.
Yeah. I started a podcast called Not for Nothing. And it's not, so far it's been more in the way of talking to tattooers, how they got into the trade and whatnot. But I'm starting to do with more creatives, more artists, more chefs, bartenders, whatever. But right now it's been mainly tattooers, and I appreciate that recommendation.
Yeah, and also the caliber of artists that you have on there is like next level too.
Oh, yeah.
I've been I'm hoping
yeah.
to again, being very fortunate and being in this trade for a really, really long time. I know a lot of really, really talented tattooers, and not for nothing, dude. There are people out there with stories that are much cooler than mine. Like I'm a dork from fucking Long Island. I'm not like anything special. I've been around a bit, but yeah, the people I've been fortunate enough to sit down and talk to, it's been really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Go check out his podcast, Not for Nothing.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Ronnie, any recommendations?
What I recommend is digging up into a lot of like old masters' works. And I'll tell you why. Because you'd be surprised if you see a lot of photos done of tattoos back in the day, even like early 1900s. And I've came to discover this myself, where we think our shit is so good and advanced right now. But trust me when I tell you, I've seen some stuff from back in the days done where I was like, that looks fucking clean. Really, really clean and well designed.
And that dude made his own needles and pigment and machines.
Correct. And he literally, it's just like, you cut me off right exactly what I needed to say.
Dude.
And it's just astounding.
Yeah.
The product that comes out of that much devotion to the craft in all aspects. Machine, needles,
Everything.
grooves, like the
Sure.
pigments, how hard it was to get all that stuff. So to come up with a beautifully done tattoo that would hold up today and still look immaculate today to today's standards.
How often do you see somebody who posts something that's a tattoo that was done in 1938
Right.
and it's still,
Yeah.
it looks
still
like a
looks
tattoo.
dope.
It's like a
Yeah.
solid tattoo.
So my advice is, if you think your shit is hot right now, people been doing that shit.
They
homie.
been doing it.
They been doing it like
That's
that.
true.
Like for real. And so it's kind of like a shot of like, pump your brakes, kid. Like your ego. Trust me, dude. There have been people killing it way before.
You know what the best part about that whole situation was? Nobody who's going to take it, who could learn anything from that is listening to you.
I know. I know. I'm just. What is it? It's just a boomer gibberish, bro.
They're like, dude, what's their Instagram, bro?
Yeah. Oh, but how many followers
What's
they
this
got,
1938 tatter he's talking about? Where's
I don't
his
know. They've been
Instagram at?
dead for like 70 years.
If I put in 1938 tat,
I'd be
I'll
like-
put it in the AI.
Yeah.
In the AI on Instagram.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Any recommendations, Joe, for anybody out
Lord.
there?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's-
just said. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, honestly, my biggest thing is just keep your eyes and ears open. Look, fucking try. Just keep fucking around, dude. Like,
Yeah.
don't assume you know shit, and don't assume the people you know shit. Listen to whatever everybody has to say, but until you try for yourself, you don't know dick.
The wheel's been the wheel for quite a while right now.
Yeah. I mean, oh, totally. Yeah. Machines and everything. Yeah. It's laughable, dude.
Yeah.
It's laughable. Everybody's like, oh, this is the best machine ever.
I'd
Really?
be like, yo, so it's pushing the needle into the skin.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know,
It's funny machine stuff, guys.
I'm sorry to put it.
one
that
of the
way,
guys I
but
said,
yeah.
he's like, it ain't that, it's batter. You
It's
know,
the
so
batter,
yeah,
right.
it is that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is something to be said for a good
machine.
Oh,
But yeah,
absolutely.
eyes and ears open, man.
All jokes considered.
And Megan, do you have any recommendations for anybody out there?
Yeah, even for like the new people trying to get into like the industry or something, like anything.
Anything.
Listen to none of this.
Just I feel like the biggest thing is find a really good mentor. Don't tattoo on your futon. Like
Don't be a scratcher.
That's great advice.
Actually, I do want to ask something. How
Don't
did you
tattoo on your futon is great.
how did you meet Nikki? Like, how did that whole situation start?
Oh, it was.
there
We
you
never,
go.
you know.
Oh,
we should've
yeah.
talked about
Sorry.
Yeah,
It was,
that's a good way to
That,
like.
that should have been 2 hours ago.
I know, right? Shit. Like, how did you?
no, it happened very fast. It was 1 minute I saw, and it was so weird because I had been following her, and it was right in lockdown, everything like that. So I saw that she already had like a last call for, hey, portfolios. Portfolios, I'm looking for an apprentice. Now or never. I'm like, but but last call's tomorrow, like in a couple of hours tomorrow. It's like, oh no, oh God. So I took everything I had, things that were mostly like unfinished, because I was like, you know what, if I would regret it more if I didn't try versus just being like, oh, that's not finished, it's not worth it.
I'm not going to submit anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And it was so weird how it happened because everything kept dying. I had my laptop fully charged. Everything was good. I had everything together. I scanned all of like my illustrations. My laptop kept dying. Fully charged, kept dying. Everything was going wrong. Anything that could go wrong went totally wrong. I had to send the whole file to my boyfriend. He logged into my email, sent it to her, and I was like, oh God, at least I tried. Like, I was like, you know what? If I don't get it, I did everything I could. And then the next morning, I got an email just saying like, yeah, come in for an interview. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I didn't think I would go that far. Cool. And it was the best interview experience I've had, because it went from being really, really nervous, because I was like, this is what I've always wanted to do. And where I lived, I've been surrounded by like tattoo shops and artists, and I went to school for like illustration and sequential art. So for me, I was like, oh, this was my goal. And that's the thing. I was so nervous, and I was nervous definitely in the beginning of the interview. But as we talked, it just became a conversation. And then the conversation became like us just talking about art and artists. And she recognized like her friends that had tattooed me prior. And she was like, okay, well, I forget exactly how it happened, but I thought she was going to email me. And then she was like, no, just stay for 2 weeks. And then the 2 weeks turned into 4 years together. So it was
Nice.
cool.
Cool.
It was really cool how it happened. And we really like welded together. Like, we have the same type of humor, like all three of us, and it was nice. It was nice to be close, especially during that time with lockdown and having certain trust issues with certain things. And
It was the worst of time and the best of times.
Exactly. It was so strange. And it was nice to build that trust, because now they come over for like holidays. Like, we invite them over for Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff.
That's
So
cool.
it's cool. Yeah.
Were you getting tattooed by her before or no?
So I was actually saving up to get tattooed by her.
Oh,
so
okay.
my reasoning was, oh God, I hope this doesn't make it awkward. Like, when I book that appointment, and she's gonna be like, hey, I remember you. And I was like, oh no.
Oh,
I think it would make a good impression. Actually.
yeah. Be like, I
Oh.
tried for the interview, but
I tried, but I didn't get it. But I wanted to get
It's like, just
tattooed.
don't
But I'm
look at
still
me.
gonna-
Yeah.
But no, it was crazy how it just fell into place. And that's what started to like get the gears turning, where it's like, oh, if things are meant to happen, that falls into place for you, because it was just bizarre, like out of everything. And the way we talked about it, and how she was like, yeah, I wasn't really expecting, I think I was like at the end of the line, because she was like, yeah, they're really strong portfolios, but the vibe was off, or certain things, like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still I still don't believe it's real. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those where it's like, I'll show up to the shop, I'm like, oh, this is my everyday. This is so sick. Like, this is everything I've ever asked for. And it's nice to have that every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, to close it out,
Sweet.
my recommendation is based off this one thing that I read by David Brule. And I want to share this because I thought it was a great thing that he wrote. If you saw it,
I did.
So it's called Thinner Lines, Aging, and Maturing as a Tattooer. You may have noticed that the average size of my lines getting smaller over the past several years. This has been very intentional and has been a part of a much longer gradual process. You'll notice a similar trend amongst most tattooers as they get quite experienced. Everyone starts to simplify, and a lot of the extremes get evened out. The peeps that use big bold lines get more reasonable sized, while others who work very fine lines start using lines that, while thin, carry a bit more weight and crispness to them. Traditional folk learn to use less black, and the artists doing very low contrast work learn to use more black. Color artists learn then when they used 5 transitions in a fade, they probably only needed 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Gray wash artists get to where they're mostly just using 2 tones of gray. Nearly everyone learns to leave more open skin. And this is all the result of a specific experience, seeing our work age on clients over a long period of time. Your perspective on your tattoos drastically changes when you've seen work you've done after 10, 15, 20 plus years. You learn to have one eye on the tattoo now and the other eye on it 2 decades in the future. So if you know a tattooist who's been in this community, and it's not an industry, by the way, and stop calling it that, for a long time, they do things differently from you. Stop and ask them why. You may not agree, but you'll come from it smarter and better. With that in mind, over the years, I've made my work both simpler and in some senses, and more detailed in others. Finer lines help achieve both with longevity. My favorite liner lately has been this, etc., etc. But most of all, what I got from this was that for the past, I don't know, man, I'd say like 6, 7, maybe 10 years, there's been this slow change of this feeling of community in the tattoo industry to making it feel so commercialized and industrialized.
Fuck yeah.
And I think slowly we need to find our pockets within tattooing and create stronger communities. And if we work together, we can create a much better environment for everyone. Everybody that's been tattooing in the past and everybody that's coming up now. And that was it.
Very good.
Here, here.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Hell yeah, guys.
Aye.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Sweet.